Good morning and welcome to BGYN, that's Biology News. And today we will talk about sexuality. And with you, your host, Alfredo Garcia.
Thank you, and welcome everyone to BGY News. On today's show, reminder of the rules, also general concepts for this lesson, and most importantly, 4 dimensions of sexuality. But first, a message from our sponsors.
Today's show is brought to you by My Mom's Breakfast. Always delicious, always healthy. Make sure you get your breakfast today.
Back to the news. We have been informed several students have been reported for not following the rules in their Zoom classes. It seems like they have been misbehaving and acting disrespectfully in other classes. For that reason, authorities have requested us to remind our viewers of the rules for their classes. Remember, to enter the session using your name and last name. Use the chat only for questions to your teachers. Your video should be activated at all times and your face should be on screen. Make sure to get into session on time. Try even to get 5 minutes early. Any student who doesn't follow the rules will be removed from the session and reported to the authorities. That being said, let's continue with our show with some general concepts. From outside for you all, Alfredo Garcia. We go with you, Alfredo.
Thank you, Alfredo. Right now, I'm transmitting from outside to all of you at home, and today I want to remind you of a few concepts of this lesson. First, sexuality refers to the characteristics that help each individual form as a member of society. Those include biological, psychological, cultural, and social characteristics. Also, sex and gender are not the same. Sex refers to the characteristics that make the difference between men and women, also defined by their genital organs. Gender, we'll talk about that later. That's it for me today. We're going back to the studio. Thank you, and remember, stay at home.
Excellent note from our colleague. Now don't forget to send in your questions using the chat so I can answer them later. Now to the main story of today, which are the 4 dimensions of sexuality. There are 4 main dimensions for sexuality: gender, affectional bonds, eroticism, and reproduction. When we talk about gender, we're not referring to the physical characteristics of men and women. We are referring to the behaviors and values related to masculinity and femininity. In other words, refers to the roles society expects from individuals based on their sex. Our second dimension is affectional bonds. When we talk about this, we refer to the attachment between individuals. This talks about our capacity to relate to others, expressing love, trust, and care. This can be expressed within our family, our classmates, close friends, or even our boyfriend and girlfriend. Our third dimension is eroticism. This part of sexuality refers to sexual activities, also related to sexual instinct, sexual desire, arousal, sensuality, and romantic love. This dimension of sexuality is highly influenced by culture. That's why it is important to consider the information we get by our teachers, our parents, and specialists. It is also related to physical pleasure and its experience through sexual activities or masturbation. Remember, however, it's not only about feeling pleasure, but also about your emotions. And finally, our 4th dimension of sexuality, reproduction. It refers to the ability individuals have to produce children through sexual interactions. To be more technical about it, it refers to the union of the sperm cell and the egg cell to produce a new, unique individual cell known as a zygote. In this diagram, you can observe how babies will grow up into adults, producing each a reproductive cell. In the case of males, we will have sperm cells and females will produce egg cells. When these two combine in a process known as fertilization, they will produce a zygote that will eventually divide to become a new baby. It seems like we have reached the end of this lesson. Now we shall proceed to answer questions from our viewers.